Well, we were very young and very naive, and it seemed like something to do. I don't regret it. Would I do it today as a 35-year-old? Maybe not. Would I do it again as a 25-year-old? Probably. Our logic was, well, the route goes and it's not too bad, so why wouldn't we remove all of the bolts or as many as we could? But that's certainly pretty naive.
When you say you were young and naive, do you remember how old you both were?
Yeah, I would have been 25 or younger, and Hayden would have been 22 or 23. We thought that it was just going to be a climbing thing, and not even a climbing thing, just a local climber of El Chalten thing, not certainly this big deal that anybody else cared about.
What what did you think would be the reaction, or did you have any guess as to how people would react?
We weren't so naive to think that there wouldn't be people that were upset, but we thought that it would blow over relatively quickly.
Yeah, you thought that some people would be upset, but it would be fine. But you didn't expect for a lot of people to be really upset. Is that you just didn't anticipate the scale of the response?
Well, exactly. And I think that the response, as I grow older and I have more experience um, in life and in communities, and have done even more traveling around the world, I realized that sometimes um, it's not about the thing. It's a bigger problem or a bunch of problems. Yeah, in hindsight, it seems incredibly dumb and just so naive. I feel bad maybe for some of the local people that really were sad and affected by what we did. But in terms of the global climbers getting upset with us, who cares, man? Ask any professional athlete that has been involved in some dumb scandal. It's just something humans like to, it's just entertaining for people. I don't think they really care. They certainly aren't super qualified with their opinion for the most part. And it's better to just ignore those people all the same, as you would try and ignore the people that say that you're amazing.
You're saying that it was easy to compartmentalize. It was easy to ignore the global opinions, but you did care more about the local opinions of climbers who were affected by the bolt chopping and people in Chalten.
It wasn't easy to compartmentalize that at all. In fact, it took a lot of soul searching and it was really tough. I potentially could have gone to a much bitter place, but instead, I think that it gave me more empathy for humanity. And I had Hayden to commiserate with, and he was just such a wise um, person. Yeah, we eventually just tried to make it into as positive a thing as I could.
If you guys had had more of a warning from other climbers that like this will create some major drama, would that have even stopped you?
That's a good question. I would have liked to think if someone like Josh had laid it out, it would have really affected our decision making up there, because we had the utmost respect for him, and I considered his judgment to be very solid. So that would have likely factored into our decision making.
Though to be clear, Josh wasn't saying that he would tell you not to chop the bolts because Josh was fully in favor of chopping the bolts and Josh was very anti-compressor route. He just wished that he had given more of a warning that like this will create drama. Like this will be a moment in climbing. But I mean, he obviously supported the bolt chopping, and I mean, he kind of hosted a party for Hayden when he came home, as a way to sort of try to support him.
Yeah, I honestly think that we were pretty good fall guys, Hayden and I, because Hayden wasn't going to take himself too seriously about the affair and was just going to tell it how like it is. And I like to think that that's more my style too. So,
Do you mean by that that if someone was going to take the fall for it, it's better that it was you guys
well,
because
we're
you could take it?
we could take it and be fairly low key about it. Yeah.
To be fair, I don't think I ever publicly supported chopping the bolts either, because I was always kind of on the fence where I'm like, if you want to do it, go for it. Like, I mean, I agree that I think it's fine to chop the bolts, but I was like, I just don't know if I personally would ever spend the time and effort to destroy something that already exists. You know, like in general with sport roots, like I pretty much never support chopping things
Yeah, totally.
just
And
from,
I'm
and so
with
I'm
you
kind of
on
like, oh,
that
you
one.
know, yeah, it's like if some human was willing to put tons of labor into creating something, then I'm like, I just don't want to put labor into destroying what they already worked on. You know, I'm like, but
Well, you, while you're right, and I agree with that sentiment, I am more for creation as opposed to destruction. I think that this case is a little bit unique and a little bit different, and it's not like Hayden and I ever did it ever again. Like we didn't
yeah,
make a habit of chopping roots, you know, it was just this one time. And the reason why it maybe was a bit different was because I mean, I already explained how easy it was to pull those things out of the mountain. They were going to fall out eventually, maybe even sooner rather than later. So I think we were just a little ahead of our time, um, uh, which sometimes is tough, you know?
it's hard being a visionary. You know, it's tough. Yeah.